Anxiety is a hot topic these days. So how does all the stuff that you're talking about now tie into anxiety?
First of all, if you think you're always anxious, nobody is always anything. So do the attention to symptom variability. This time the symptom would be anxiety. The other is to recognize events don't cause stress. Events don't make us anxious. What makes us anxious or stressed are our views of events. So the more mindful you are, the more views of the event you have available to yourself. Rather than think, oh my God, this terrible thing's going to happen. I was explaining this on a podcast the other day, and I said, okay, so let's say my internet goes out. All right, so I'll go have lunch. Well, the reason I remember this so clearly is because then my internet went out. And I'd like to say that I don't just talk the talk. I went in, I had lunch. And a one-liner that lots of people, friends of mine, tell me they put it on their refrigerator, which is, next time you're stressed, you're anxious, ask yourself, is it a tragedy or an inconvenience? It's almost never a tragedy. So you bang the car, you missed an appointment, your internet went out, really. Then there are several things people can do. One of them is to think about the last 3 times you were stressed. Did the event even happen? Probably not. And so what happens is we worry about something, give ourselves over to it, and it doesn't happen. That's a waste of one's life, of those moments. And, we don't need to prepare ourselves. The people I'm speaking to now on your podcast are all adults, that they know how to deal with things when the time comes. So just, in some sense, no stress before it's time. I think that a very simple thing, stress requires 2 things. I know you're looking at me. When is she going to finish so you can talk? Right after this. Stress requires 2 things. It requires a belief that something is going to happen, and when it happens, it's going to be awful. Well, it turns out that prediction is an illusion. We can predict for a group, but not the individual case. And I'll give an example of that in a moment if you're interested. You're stressed about something, anxious about it. Give yourself 3 reasons why it might not happen. Similar things in the past, and it didn't happen. James wasn't always annoying, your wife can be saying to herself, and so on. So first you started thinking this thing was going to happen. Now you have reasons why you've generated them, so to you they're reasonable, why it might not happen. So you're already better. But let's assume it does happen. This is the harder part, but the more important as far as I'm concerned. Now ask yourself, how is that actually a good thing? As soon as this thing you dread reveal the other side of it, there's nothing to worry about. If you and I, you ask me to go someplace, if we're going, that's great. You call me and you say we can't go, that's great. I'll do something. You just become easy. Lots of people grow into more of this. We tend to call it wisdom as you get older. But I teach my Harvard undergraduates, why wait? We can all be doing this right away. Yeah. So the most important part of it is to recognize you don't have to feel whatever you're feeling. Feelings are choices. Why choose to be depressed, anxious, miserable?